Sorry about that. But the biggest thing about the delay, like I was saying, they were asking for kings. God's like, what you need a king for? You have the word of God to master over you. You have the word of God to lead you. But the moment they asked for a king, they started going through certain things. You know, the moment that they created a God, it was offensive to God. So you're creating a God over you, which caused a terror and an offense. And a lot of people aren't aware of this, you know, and stuff like that. So you had so many different things that created a problem for the children of Israel out of bondage. So they're emerging out, but yet and still they have a bondage type mindset because there was no respect for that which had removed them from bondage, which was God. And he gave instructions. Okay, well, look, just serve me, be subservient to me. Because being subservient to me is the protection that you're going to need. See, a lot of people aren't understanding this. Like, it's even still the same way today. You have to actually serve the word of God. And it's the hardest thing you're going to face to prevent those delays. But this is creating a burden that yoke is easy and light. Because when you start seeing certain things, had I been doing this, this could have taken place. But because I'm not a part of certain things don't have authority to act or take place in my life. Now, that's not going to stop them from trying to act and take place in your life. That's not going to stop them and say, okay, well, look, they're not going to come after you and try to gain principle or try to gain mastery over you and over your life. That's not going to stop them. But you have a foundation now. Certain things just ain't going to play the way it usually would play. Certain things isn't going to get the advantage that it usually do get. You know, a lot of things got a chance to play in our lives that should have never had its position. And now we have to actually rid ourselves of it also during the delay. Because to remind you, he could not take them into paradise. I promise you a land filled with milk and honey. But you cannot enter in, so you're faced with another delay. Why can't you enter in? Well, because your mindset is set a certain way. You don't have on you don't have the right mindset to enter into where it's predestined for you to be. That has to change. So we're going to have to change your mindset in the wilderness. So he takes the children of Israel into the wilderness. Now, this is a longer delay. We were supposed to be in the promised land. The land that you promised to our fathers and our fathers' fathers. Why aren't we there yet? Because your mindset isn't prepared to go there. You know, even in war, he was like, they weren't prepared for war. Their mindset wasn't prepared for war because they never knew war. And it was the reason why, remind you, they had spent so many years subservient. And being subservient, they didn't have to fight because they were just subservient. They didn't have a motive to fight because they weren't aware of their situations. You know, and I always tell people this all the time. You know, you hear the story say if the people had to know that they were in slavery, we could have freed more. We could have rid a lot of these problems. We could have done more, you know, and stuff like that. But still, even today, our people aren't aware of some of the slave tactics in which have been used against them. Slave tactics that resulted back sometimes to the ideology and idiocracy of lynch. And that's where the word actually derived from, Lynch book. Because you imagine being an African American or even any person of any culture and reading Lynch way of dealing with people and then have that done to your people and have it as used as a tactic against your people. A lot of us are oblivious to some of the abuse that takes place, some of the things that are happening during the delay. You're oblivious to it. You can't sit up there and you can't comment on rape because you didn't know that you were being raped, because you were out of it. So you went through abuse for years and years during the delay of what should have been your destiny, of you progressing, having infinitely, not stressing, being able to go shop, do whatever you want to do, and you weren't even aware. And think about it, had you been a part of the Word of God, some of this stuff would not have happened. And guess what? Satan isn't Satan isn't easy to let you go. The people that praise tourism and all this different stuff, they don't want to let you go. The people that praise Satan and do all this satanic stuff and evil stuff to one another as well as to other people, they don't want to let it go. Think about it. He released them, he said, by a strong hand, I had to free my people. By a strong hand, he had to free Israel. And your name will no longer be Jacob, but it will be named Israel. And how did Jacob get his position? How did he get his blessing? And even after getting one blessing in which he took, he still needed another one, which he needed to fight for. But this is the story of Israel. And this is the story of a people who betrayed one another and had to pay the penalty for the betrayal of innocent blood. And it caused a delay in multiple destinies. It wasn't just one destiny that was delayed in this process. It was multiple, but we tell stories of maybe one or two destinies. But imagine how many destinies were intertwined to the betrayal. Imagine how many lives would have been changed had the betrayal not took place. Because at some point, a lot of people feel, oh, because it's 400 years. It's been years and years and years and years. You never had to pay for the delay. But there is a cost. There is a cost for everything that we do. There is a price for everything that we do. And sometimes when you're doing it to innocent blood, you're causing that delay. And the fact that that delay is happening to them, that same delay has to take place now amongst your people. So think about it. The brothers enslaved Joseph, and now their people were enslaved for 400 years. So yes, you thought that you would easily get a forgiveness, but God is still angry. You thought that you weren't going to pay the price, but God is still angry about the delay. Yeah, it worked out the way God wanted it to. But how much abuse did the innocent suffer? How much did they go through during the delay that wasn't even predestined for them because you had other ideas? So now we have to be mindful because cause and effect, and this stuff do affects more than just you. Remind you, they're talking about 4 generations. Remind you, Israel went through 400 years. God knows how long Joseph stayed in prison. Because when you get in a prison cell, they don't want to let you go free. There's no telling how long you went through that delay. And remind you, it was a while. Remind you, he had already cleared the dream for the cupbearer and the butler. Them, they already had the dream cleared. The cook, all of them had he had already prophesied it over them. But guess what? He said, "Don't forget me." But they did. So how many years after you sitting up there, you do something good for somebody, you ain't even received so much as a basket to say thank you? And that's another delay. So it was delays after delays after delays of your blessing. And it's going on now. And I know you're tired. Remind you, your enemy told you not to do your best in school. Your enemy told you not to be the best. And your enemy planned for you not to prosper. Your enemy made it where you didn't even have a goal set for yourself, where you sat there in ignorance for years and years and years. And when I say years and years and years, that was like 10, 11 years of enslavement. And then when you once thought that you was free, just a little bit, or thought that you were getting a little bit ahead, you went even into a deeper enslavement, a deeper delay. Before finally some did an intervention, said, hey, there was a destiny for you that it's been taken from you. It's been taken from your family. There were switches, there was tears that was thrown into the seeds that you guys were sowing, making it where things were a certain way for you. And every time that things got good for you, your enemy showed up trying to take it. I tell you guys this because a lot of times our delays are because we won't do the word of God. We're doing everything but the word of God. So how I'm gonna prevent these delays? I gotta stick to the word of God. But even with sticking to the word of God, I'm still going through delays. And you got to understand, this is the time in which you're like Joseph. I'm innocent. I did nothing wrong to deserve this. I'm bitter. I'm angry. I want to get revenge. I don't want to feel sorry for my enemy. And it's because of the delay. My destiny was paved out. God spoke to me himself and said, you shall be great. But here I am going through a delay. And I don't know why. Here I am being forced to be humble and subservient when in my dream I was told that I would have servants. Here I am going through all of this. And I'm starting to ask the question, where is my destiny? Where is my breakthrough? And what we need to understand, it has been stolen. And every time you start doing the word of God, you're stealing it back. But it's not gonna come easy. It comes with a fight. The next video I'm gonna do a video where I talk to you about how you will have to fight to prevent that delay. God bless you guys. Take care of yourself. Stay up.